I'll spot him this. It was strategic genius. Now understand, it was disgusting, it was illegal, it was treasonous. People need to go to jail, but it was strategically brilliant. Think back to August of 2020. Donald Trump, months before the election, is out on the campaign trail with his rallies in front of his dolts, and he says the only way I can lose this election is if it's rigged. Last time I heard that was on a second grade playground. If I win, I won. But if I lose, I won. And his dolts lapped it up. But it was genius. You know, if you consider Joseph Goebbels a genius, accuse others of that which you are clearly guilty and get out front of it. So we have this tall tale about this phony, false narrative about rigging an election while his side is actually rigging an election. It's genius. And we now know this to be a fact. This isn't just a radically rational video. The documentation is there. And here was the theory. Here's how they were going to do it. Just do it. Just say no. Whatever the results are, just throw them out. Throw your own electors out there. Let the Supreme Court sort it out. Think about this. You don't think this was a premeditated plot? They were talking about overturning the results of the election before they even knew what the results of the election were. You don't think this is an insurrection? You don't think this is an attempted coup? You don't think this is not an attempt to install an autocracy? Then what would you call it unless your head is buried in the sand? Ostriches. And here's what else we know. You knew this if you were witnessing it, but now we got documentation. Faced with the biggest public health crisis in American history, Donald Trump did everything he possibly could to tamp down our response, to not respond, to fail the American people, to lie to them, and try to turn a scientific, medical, biological health issue into a political wedge issue. And people died. And there are some credible computer models here that suggest that the unnecessary American deaths that resulted from this utter lack of response and this misrepresentation and this denial of what was going on number in the hundreds of thousands. We had an attempt to rig an American election, and we had an administration who failed us in the worst possible way in one of the most dangerous moments in American history. A president's first job is to protect the American people. So I don't care how you rank them, 1-2 or 2-1. Donald Trump is responsible for the two most abominable acts in the history of the American presidency. And as for this blatant attempt to rig the election, I'm kind of relieved this morning to find out that it was being pushed by an Aggie. Hell, otherwise it might have worked.